Heartwarming surprise revealed. My son handed me an envelope that exposed a $900,000 secret. John's heart raced as he unfolded the letter. The air in the cozy little Smith family garage felt electric, as if the winter chill outside had melted away in one miraculous moment. He stood there, overwhelmed, staring at the number on the page, feeling the weight of years of sacrifice and hard work colliding with this unexpected news. This wasn't just a letter, it was the potential key to everything he'd ever dreamed of for his family and a small suburban neighborhood of Ohio, where houses were decorated with twinkling lights for the holidays. John had always believed that with grit and determination, he could achieve the American dream for his family. Decades spent under the hood of cars had forged him into a resilient man, yet as he wiped the sweat from his brow day after day, the financial strain had not relented. He could see it on his wife, Margaret's face, the worry etched around her eyes. His son Jake was nearing the end of his college journey, ambitious and driven, but John sensed something other than excitement, a simmering tension brewing beneath the surface of their familiar bond. "Dad," Jake had said lightly, but with a tremor, as he handed John the envelope. Their eyes locked for a fleeting moment, filled with unspoken words. The trembling in both of their hands revealed a deeper longing. John felt the weight of expectation that their family's dreams had created, almost suffocating. As he read the letter detailing his late father's hidden investment, the potential of $900,000 sparkled in his mind like Christmas lights illuminating a darkened night. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The thought of finally easing their financial burdens lit a fire in his heart, a vision of new possibilities to invest in Jake's future and live freely. Yet, the nagging voice in his head reminded him of the sacrifices his father made, how he had instilled the values of community and familial loyalty into him. Should he honor that legacy or carve out his own path? As John and Jake sat down to discuss the implications of this investment, the holiday cheer felt like a distant memory. With each word they peeled back layers of frustration, anxiety, and love. Tensions rose, anger bubbled, and the room felt colder despite the cozy atmosphere. The discussion was more than just about money, it was a reckoning. Father and son wrestled with the needs of the present and the weight of the past. Just as John mustered the courage to voice his perspective, Jake leaned in closer, his eyes shimmering with vulnerability. "Dad, what do we really want this money to mean for us?" The question floated in the air, heavy with the weight of their shared history. It was a moment of truth, where everything lay on the edge, teetering between hope and fear. Christmas lights flickered outside, but inside, the warmth of the season felt suddenly distant, leaving only the promise of an uncertain future lingering between them, full of both trepidation and possibility. John's heart thudded in his chest as he took in Jake's words. The weight of the question felt like a mountain pressing down on him, a crossroads materializing before them. What did it mean? What was money if it couldn't heal their wounds, if it didn't bring them closer? Jake's eyes, usually bright and full of life, looked vulnerable and full of doubt. It broke John's heart to see his son wrestling with uncertainties. He was supposed to provide guidance, not fuel the fire of confusion. "It's about security, Jake. It should give us a chance to breathe," he replied, his voice slightly shaky. "But at what cost, Dad?" Jake shot back, raising his voice. "We're not just talking about cash here. We're talking about what this means for us, for our family." Each word landed like a thud against John's chest. Jake had always been opinionated, but tonight, the stakes felt unbearably high. The tension wrapped around them like an invisible rope, as suffocating as the December chill growing outside. Memories flooded John's mind, his father's calloused hands, gripping a wrench with determination, always pushing for a better life. He had spent his life building a legacy, not just in dollars but in principles. The breath of that legacy resonated between the father and son, electrified. "What if we used it to start that workshop you've always wanted?" John ventured, trying to find common ground. "Just think, we could both work on our own terms. It would be a way to honor Grandpa while taking a step toward our own dreams. Jake's expression softened at the mention of his grandfather. But he built everything on sweat and struggle. I don't want to just inherit a pile of money. I want something earned. Something meaningful, he said. The intensity in his voice melting into a tender yearning. The reality settled in thick. This wasn't merely about a financial boost. It was a test of their values, a choice between preservation and progression. Reconciliation and achievement battled within John. He felt a flicker of hope amidst the confusion. Maybe they could create something new while honoring the past. Look, Jake, John started again, leaning closer. We can decide this together. We don't have to have all the answers right now. He felt a slight tremor in his hands, the fear of letting go of what he had thought was a clear path. Just then, a blaring horn from the street broke through their conversation, and they both turned to watch a neighbor's car slide to a stop, a cheerful family spilling out. Laughter rang out, starkly contrasting the tight air around John and Jake. He caught a glimpse of joy, of simplicity, the essence of family he cherished. Sometimes I think we're overthinking it, Jake muttered, a faint smile breaking through the tension. What if we just took a trip? Spent time figuring this out rather than stressing over every dollar? John nodded, feeling a glimmer of relief mingled with excitement. The thought of exploring possibilities through shared experiences seemed like the right way forward. But deep down he knew their financial windfall loomed over them. An obstacle they couldn't ignore. Yes, maybe some time away could help. But can we really just ignore the implications of this money? John asked, concern still threading through his voice. Let us take it one step at a time, Jake suggested, his tone more conciliatory. One decision doesn't have to define us. It can just be the beginning. As they fell into a companionable silence, John felt a flicker of warmth seep into the room. Amidst the uncertainty, a bond was being reforged. But as the laughter faded into the background and the cold pressed against the windows, the question still remained: would they be able to navigate this newfound wealth without losing sight of each other? The Christmas lights twinkled, a distant reminder of the magic that still lingered. Yet a shadow loomed, a flicker of a choice that would reshape their world. A choice that demanded resolution. John took a deep breath, ready to explore the journey ahead, but what would the final decision bring? The next morning arrived with a quiet stillness, the world outside blanketed in a soft layer of snow. John's breath fogged against the kitchen window as he watched the flakes swirl to the ground. It reminded him of time spent with Jake in their backyard, building snowmen and having epic snowball fights. But today, the weight of unspoken words hung between them like the winter air. Morning, Jake's voice broke the silence as he shuffled into the kitchen, hair tousled and eyes still clouded with sleep. Morning, champ. John turned, forcing a smile that felt more fragile than usual. He had been lost in thought, running scenarios through his head like a movie reel. Pancakes sizzled in the skillet, filling the room with warmth. I thought we could take it easy today, John suggested, trying to keep things light. Maybe watch some old Christmas movies later? Jake hesitated, his gaze falling slightly. Sounds good, he said, but John could feel the hesitation laced in his words. As they ate breakfast, a palpable tension clung to the air. They exchanged small talk, safe topics that didn't provoke deeper discussions. But John had noticed Jake's restlessness. He fiddled with his fork and stared out the window, watching the snowflakes dance. Jake, John began, his heart racing. He could feel the words bubbling up, the need for honesty growing stronger. I know we've got some big decisions ahead. I want you to feel like we're in this together. Jake's expression darkened. I think we need to talk about yesterday. About that money. Okay, John replied, pushing his empty plate aside, preparing for a heavier breakfast than pancakes. What's on your mind? I just can't help but think about all the things that could happen. What are we really planning to do with it? I can't pretend it's not there. And I don't want it to come between us. John felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He had his own worries, his own fears, and it was clear that hiding behind the guise of a family vacation wouldn't be enough to quell his son's anxieties. You're right. Maybe it's time to face this head-on. Jake took a deep breath, glancing sideways at his father. I've been thinking about that workshop idea. But what if we expand on it? What if we made it something bigger, like a whole community project? Immediately, John's heart raced. A community project could provide purpose, could breathe life back into their family while helping others. What do you mean? Tell me more. We could start a program for kids teaching them how to build and work with tools. It could combine what Grandpa taught us with giving kids a chance to learn. Maybe it could even become a business and help kids in our community. As Jake spoke, his eyes sparkled with passion. The frustrations of the past day melted away, replaced by an idea that simmered with potential. That sounds beautiful, Jake. It's about giving back, about using what we have to create something bigger, John replied, feeling the corners of his mouth lift and a warm glow settle in his chest. But before they could get lost in their vision, Jake reached into his back pocket and pulled out a thick envelope. Dad, there's something I've been holding on to. Something I didn't know how to tell you. John's heart hitched, confusion swirling in his mind. What could it be? He took the envelope, the weight of it heavier than it looked. What is this? I wasn't sure how to bring this up, but I think it's important. Inside is something related to the money. It's an investment opportunity one didn't want to take without talking to you first. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. As John slowly opened the envelope, a rush of anxiety washed over him. What if it jeopardized everything they'd just begun to talk about? What if it changed their plans forever? Whatever was inside could alter the course of their family and possibly their relationship. He glanced at Jake, whose face mirrored the uncertainty now pulsing through John's veins. A decision loomed, and the stakes had suddenly become much higher. Would this envelope bring them closer, or push them apart? With trembling hands and a heart pounding against his ribcage, John took a deep breath, ready to unveil the truth that lay within the envelope. As John gingerly pulled the envelope open, the sound of paper crackling seemed to echo around the still kitchen. Inside he found a thick sheaf of documents, a glossy brochure on the top displaying a youthful face in a hard hat, standing proudly at the entrance of a community workshop. Above it the bold letters read, "Build the Future, a teen workshop experience." He glanced up at Jake, searching his son's face. Confusion and hope swirled within him. "You're kidding me. This is what you've been working on?" Jake nodded slowly, a mixture of anticipation and nervousness dancing behind his eyes. "I saw this online a week ago, and thought maybe we could use some of the money for the initial costs and push our project further. The workshop would teach kids not just about tools, but about teamwork, creativity, and life skills." John's heart swelled with pride and worry all at once. It was ambitious and risky. This was more than just a local project. It was a dream that could impact a whole generation. But what if they failed? "Jake, this is a big commitment. How do you know it will work?" John asked, his voice steady even as doubt bled through. "I just feel it, Dad," Jake said, his voice more forceful now, the spark igniting once again. "I really think we can do this. We can create something that lasts. Something I wish I had when I was younger." John felt his heart soften. This wasn't just an idea. It was a chance for Jake to embody the legacy of his grandfather, a man who had joyfully shared his skills and values with anyone willing to learn. But with any decision, the weight of risk loomed heavily. What if we fall short? What if the community doesn't want it? John struggled to keep the fear at bay, knowing this was a pivotal moment in their father-son dynamic. "I get that. But what if we fly?" Jake shot back, his enthusiasm infectious. "Think about it. We could change lives, Dad. And even if it takes time, isn't it worth trying?" As he met Jake's gaze, the earnestness in his son's expression slowly chipped away at John's fears. What if they focused instead on what they could build together instead of what could go wrong? "Okay," John breathed, conviction creeping into his voice. "Let us say we do this. We'll have a plan, though, something to keep us on track." Jake's face lit up, relief washing over him. "Really? You mean it?" John nodded, a smile creeping in, feeling a rush of adrenaline. "Yeah. Let us meet with the community. We'll pitch it, see the interest." Excitement surged between them. The fear that had initially filled the air seemed to evaporate, replaced by the thrill of potential. They began to talk about the next steps, brainstorming ideas to approach local businesses for support, drafting a proposal for community meetings, and thinking of ways to spread the word. But underneath the excitement, John couldn't shake the feeling that slowly curling back into the corners of his mind, the worry that what lay inside that envelope might be more than just hope for a project. As the morning slipped into afternoon, laughter filled the kitchen. They were dreaming big, building a future they both craved. But it wasn't long until the clock chimed, pulling John back to reality. Jake, before we go on with this, I need to ask, what about the other investment options? There's something else in that envelope, isn't there? Jake's expression shifted, his playful demeanor fading. Yeah. I guess I just didn't want to worry you. There's a deal that could bring in more funding, but it's more complicated. John felt the floor drop from beneath him. What kind of complicated? Jake fidgeted, his fingers tracing the edge of the envelope. Could mean something deeper, Dad. Something we might not be ready for. John's heart raced again. If only a team effort to build a community awaited them, why did it feel like they were entering a minefield? And as he awaited Jake's response, he wondered what else was hidden in those papers. And if their dream was just a step into the unknown that could either nourish or dismantle what they had begun to build together. Would they truly be ready for whatever came next? Jake took a deep breath, the weight of the moment palpable in the kitchen. He glanced between the envelope and his father, sensing the gravity of what he was about to share. Okay, but you have to promise not to freak out. John's heartbeat quickened. Just tell me, Jake. With a shaky hand, Jake slowly revealed another document from the envelope. It was a contract for a sizable grant, a chance to secure the funding they needed to transform the workshop dream into reality. The numbers danced on the page in a swirl of zeros, almost dizzying $900,000. Dad, this is it. This can cover everything. We could hire instructors, rent a space, get tools. We could really do this. Jake's voice was vibrant with hope, but a flicker of uncertainty remained in his eyes. John's mind raced. The prospect sent waves of excitement crashing through him, but deep down, something felt off. But Jake, what's the catch? There's always a catch. Jake nodded, biting his lip. Yeah, there is. It's funded by a foundation that wants full community involvement. They want not just kids but adults involved too, and they expect monthly reports showing progress. It's a commitment, Dad. A commitment? The word hung in the air like a storm cloud. You mean we'll be accountable to someone else? What if we can't deliver? Jake's enthusiasm dimmed slightly, but he pressed on. I know it sounds scary, but think about it. We're not just building a workshop, we're building a community. Everyone gets to be part of this. John rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the weight of Jake's words. The idea was powerful, inviting the community to produce something together. But could they really commit their time and energy to such a vast project? Remember, Dad, we talked about how we wanted to make a difference. This is it. This isn't just about us anymore. If we don't take this chance, who knows if it'll come around again. Jake's passion radiated from him, lighting up John's doubt like a fire. John's heart swelled, but he felt the fear slink back in. Was this all too much too soon? Yet, every part of him remembered how long they had pushed this dream aside. You think we can do it? I wouldn't have brought it to you if I didn't believe in us. Look at everything we've already planned. We just need to pull everyone together. We can do this, and we're not alone, Jake reassured, his eyes sparkling with determination. John could see it now, the faces of kids eager to learn, the laughter of parents involved, and the pride that would swell from building something meaningful. But did they have the strength to open the door to the community, to bring everyone in? What do we do next? He asked, still uncertain but swirling with hope. We start by reaching out. Let us gather people who want to help. We'll hold an information session. If they're on board, we can push this proposal. If we get the community invested from the beginning, we'll have the support we need, Jake said, the fire sparking back up again. John could see his son's resolve, and he felt the warmth of it seep into him. Okay, John finally said, the words feeling monumental as they left his lips. Let us do it. As they began writing down names and drafting messages, John felt excitement and fear amalgamate inside him, creating a pulse of adrenaline. They were crossing the threshold into a new chapter. But just as the excitement crescendoed, John's phone buzzed on the table, cutting through the moment. The name on the screen was a reminder of the past, of complications and challenges that could shatter their hopes. Hold on, John said, hesitating for a moment before answering. His heart thumped loudly, and he wondered if this call might unearth more about his son's complicated plans. As he answered, he silently prayed their decision to build a future together was the right one. What if this call changed everything? John's pulse raced as he raised the phone to his ear. The sound of his own breath echoed sharply in the silence of the kitchen. "Hello?" He managed to say the word, feeling heavy on his tongue. "John." "It's Sarah," came the friendly voice from the other end, a welcome contrast to the tumult of anxiety swirling in his mind. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything important." John's shoulders relaxed a fraction. "No, not at all. Just having a conversation with Jake." But his mind was elsewhere, the weight of the grant hanging over him like an impending storm. Good. She paused, her tone shifting slightly. "I was calling to talk about the community workshop. I heard some buzz and I think it could really become something special." His heart swelled with cautious optimism. "You think so?" "I really do. People are yearning for something like this. A place to gather, learn, and create. You know how many folks in the neighborhood are looking for ways to connect." John's throat tightened. "Jake's excited about it too. We're planning an info session to gauge interest." "That's a great idea. I was thinking, what if I help organize that? I can reach out to some local groups, get the word out. We could even hold it at the community center." John felt the stirrings of hope again, rekindled by her enthusiasm. "That would be amazing, Sarah. I just want to make sure we do it right." "Do it right?" "John, we both know nothing like this will ever be perfect. But it can be real, alive with energy. Imagine kids from our neighborhood building things, learning skills, and working together. It's time we stop dreaming and start doing." He glanced at Jake, who had been silently listening, eyes wide with anticipation. John's heart warmed as he felt the unity of purpose settle between them. "You're right. We are ready to do something real." Suddenly, Sarah's voice was tinged with seriousness. "But, John, you need to be cautious. I heard some rumors about the grant. There might be strings attached that we haven't considered yet." John's excitement waned at her words. He hadn't thought about that. "What do you mean?" "They'll need reports, commitments from the community, and well, I just want you to be careful of overpromising. We don't know the full scope yet. I wouldn't want you and Jake to get overwhelmed." He felt the weight of her words press against his chest. "Yeah, I hear you. I guess I've been so focused on the dream that I haven't thought about the practical side." "Just take it one step at a time," she advised, her tone gentle yet firm. "People want to contribute, but we need to be realistic about what we can achieve." "Thanks, Sarah," he said, his voice low with gratitude. "I will keep that in mind." As they wrapped up the call, John hung up the phone and turned to Jake. He could see the hint of disappointment in his son's face, a shadow of dread creeping in. "Did I ruin it?" John asked, sensing the shift in the room. "No, Dad," Jake exclaimed. I'm worried too. What if we fail? What if we can't meet those expectations?" John felt a wave of empathy wash over him. "We won't know until we try. But what we can do is stay true to our vision. We start with small promises, show up for each other, and build from there." Jake nodded, still unsure but visibly inspired by his father's resolve. "Yeah, okay. Let us do the meeting. Let us find out who's in." As they both returned to their plans, the atmosphere was charged with a blend of anxiety and excitement. John couldn't shake the feeling that the phone call had stirred up more than just motivation. But just as he was about to dive back into the list of names, a thought flickered through his mind. If there were rumors about the grant, how far did they stretch? What if someone tried to turn the town against them before they even got started? His fingers paused above the paper. "Jake, what if we need to prepare for more than just a busy meeting?" Jake looked up, eyes wide with realization. "What do you mean?" Before John could answer, a loud knock at the door sent both of them jumping. The sound echoed through the now tense silence of the kitchen. "What was that?" Jake asked, voice low. "I don't know, but it's unexpected," John replied, feeling a shiver run down his spine. Curiosity and apprehension danced in the air as they walked towards the door, unsure of what awaited them on the other side. But something deep inside John sensed that this turn of events could either solidify their path forward or unravel everything they had just begun to build. With one hand on the doorknob, he took a deep breath. "Ready?" he asked Jake, who nodded with a mixture of excitement and fear. The moment hung in the air as John turned the knob, ready to face whatever news the outside world had waiting. As the door creaked open, a chilly wind rushed in, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and uncertainty. There on the porch stood a tall figure with a wide-brimmed hat pulled low, obscuring their face. The shock of seeing a stranger at this hour sent adrenaline coursing through John's veins. He instinctively stepped protectively in front of Jake, who peeked around his father's side. "Can I help you?" John asked, trying to keep his tone steady, though his heart raced. "Mr. Lawson?" The voice was smooth but firm like polished marble. The figure lifted their head slightly, revealing a familiar face, but one John hadn't seen in years. It was Mr. Thompson, the old city councilman known for his stern demeanor and deep-rooted connections in the community. "What brings you here?" John asked, astonished and a bit wary. It felt jeopardizing to have someone like Mr. Thompson at their door, especially now. "I came to talk about the grant," he said, his presence heavy with the weight of untold stories. "May I come in?" John hesitated, unsure of what might transpire in their small kitchen. But the urgency in Mr. Thompson's eyes convinced him to step aside. "Sure. Come on in." Once inside, Mr. Thompson sat at the kitchen table, his hat still perched on his head. John and Jake followed, glancing at each other as the silence grew thicker. The shadows from the evening light danced across the walls, making the room feel smaller than usual. "I heard you're working on a community workshop," Mr. Thompson began, his gaze steady on John. "A noble effort. But we need to have a candid conversation about the implications of that grant." John felt a chill creep down his spine. He knew Mr. Thompson was well versed in the inner workings of the local government, but this was the first time he was facing the man since his own father had passed. "What do you mean?" he asked cautiously. The old councilman leaned forward, his hands resting on the table as if weighing some invisible burden. "There are rumors swirling, just as Sarah mentioned. Not just idle chatter, but a concerted effort by some folks in town to undermine your project before it even begins." "What do you mean?" Jake interjected, his youthful intensity breaking through the tension. "Why would they do that?" "Fear mainly," Mr. Thompson replied, shaking his head as he exhaled heavily. "Change is frightening to those who feel they might lose something. Your workshop represents something new, something different. Some see it as a threat." John felt a knot tighten in his gut. "But that's not what we're doing. We just want to bring people together, give them a place for creativity." Mr. Thompson raised a hand. "I know, but others don't see it that way. And they'll use every tactic they can to sabotage your efforts if allowed." A heavy silence settled over the room. John felt his mind racing, trying to process the implications of what he was hearing. "So what do we do?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The councilman leaned back in his chair. "You prepare. Show them your commitment. Gather supporters, build grassroots momentum. Make it clear you are serious about this." Jake glanced at his dad, his face a mix of anxiety and determination. "We can do that, right? We won't let them stop us." "Yes, we can," John replied, feeling the resolve rising within him. "But we need to act fast. I'll reach out to the community tomorrow, start rallying support. We'll hold that meeting and show everyone that we're not backing down." Mr. Thompson nodded, a hint of pride breaking through his stern facade. "You've got the spirit for it, John, just like your father once had. But there's something else." He reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope, the soft paper crinkling with potential. "I believe this will help." John took the envelope, feeling its weight in his hands. Confusion swirled in his mind, and a rush of apprehension coursed through him. What secret lay within? Suddenly, the room felt electric with anticipation. Jake leaned in closer, eyes wide with curiosity. "What is it, Dad?" As John slowly opened the envelope, his heart pounded in his chest, because he knew the stakes had just risen. What was this unexpected twist? What if their fight wasn't just about community but something bigger? Then he unfolded the letter and gasped, the words dancing in his mind with possibilities he had never considered before. John's heart raced as his eyes scanned the neatly typed words on the letter. The figures danced before him, blurring into a whirlwind of numbers that seemed to pulse with possibilities. He could hardly believe what he was reading. It wasn't just a simple grant. It was an opportunity to transform not only their workshop but the entire town. "Dad, what does it say?" Jake pressed, his youthful curiosity igniting the air between them. John swallowed hard, the weight of the moment heavy on him. He looked up, struggling to form the words that hung thick on his tongue. John began, his voice faltering. It's like a lifeline. If we play our cards right, we could secure nearly $1 million. Jake's eyes widened, a mixture of excitement and disbelief washing over his features. $1 million? That is amazing. The boy jumped from his chair, his fists pumping in the air. We can do so much with that. Yes, we could, John agreed, a fire igniting within him. The passion for the workshop surged back, brighter and fiercer than before. Yet, alongside the thrill came a haunting realization. With great power came the potential for great conflict. This grant would not just draw supporters. It would draw critics too. Mr. Thompson observed the exchange, a knowing glimmer in his eyes. This is your moment, John. A chance not only to push through the opposition, but to reshape the community's vision. But remember, this won't come without its battles. The gravity of his words seeped into John's skin. He thought of the whispers, the fears of those who would feel threatened by the change he was about to invite. But the thought of creating a space for art, connection and safety for his son and others like him urged him on. Let us do this, John declared, locking eyes with Jake. There was an unspoken promise between them. They would stand united, ready to face whatever the town might throw their way. Jake beamed, confidence radiating from him. So how do we start? John grinned, uncertainty beginning to melt into clarity. First, we gather our people. Tomorrow we'll hold a meeting at the community center. We'll present the plan, lay out the need for support, and show them what this grant could mean for our town. People will come, right? Jake asked, a tinge of doubt creeping into his voice. They will if we make it clear how important it is, John replied, feeling the swirl of determination rising in him. We'll share our vision, our hope. This can't just be about us, Jake. It has to be about everyone. Mr. Thompson nodded appreciatively, the faintest hint of a smile breaking through his stoic demeanor. And remember to keep your eyes open. Not everyone will welcome this change. Watch for anyone who might try to undermine your efforts. Those voices can be louder than you think. As they prepared to stand against the tide of opposition, John felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility settle on his shoulders. It wasn't just about a grant. It was about community, family, and sowing seeds of hope. The moment felt monumental, a stepping stone toward something greater. We've got this, Jake whispered, his small hand gripping his father's tightly. Yes, we do, John smiled. Together we'll make this happen. As they exchanged determined glances, a fragile tranquility settled around them, brimming with potential and anticipation. But just then, a sudden knock on the door pulled them from their resolve. John exchanged a wary glance with Mr. Thompson, uncertainty flickering in the air. Who could it be at this hour? A sense of foreboding twisted in his gut, and his breath hitched in his throat. With a shared nod, John walked toward the door once more, bracing himself for whatever awaited on the other side. This battle was just beginning. John hesitated at the door, his heart hammering loudly in his chest. He wiped his palms on his jeans, feeling the familiar mix of excitement and fear. Behind him, Jake shifted nervously, sensing his father's tension. The moment felt charged, as if the air itself was waiting with bated breath. He pulled the door open slowly, revealing a tall figure cloaked in shadow, a woman with dark hair and worried eyes. Mr. Sanders? She asked, her voice soft but urgent. It was Lucy, the town's mayor. Lucy, what's wrong? He stepped aside, letting her enter while casting a glance back at Jake, who was now wide-eyed with curiosity. I just heard about the grant, she said, her voice trembling slightly. Are you serious? You really think you can get it? Yes, John replied, his determination surfacing once more. We're planning a meeting tomorrow to rally support from the community. That's great, but you need to be careful. Lucy's expression turned serious. There are people who won't be happy about this. Changes like this threaten their control. Jake, who was quietly watching, shuffled closer to John. What do you mean? Lucy knelt down to Jake's eye level. Some folks like things the way they are because they think it keeps them safe. New ideas can scare them even if it's for the best. You have to be ready to face the pushback. John swallowed, the weight of her words hitting him hard. He wanted to protect Jake from the uncertainty and hurt that might come their way. We'll be ready, Lucy. We have to be. But what if they don't listen? Jake asked, his voice trembling slightly. They will, John assured him, placing a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder. We just need to share our vision. Show them how it can change lives. If you need any help, I'm behind you, Lucy said, her gaze flickering between John and Jake. This can be a turning point. I want to see this town thrive. Just then the door creaked again. A group of neighbors peeked in, not just any neighbors, but a mix of loyal supporters and those with skeptical eyes. They had overheard the conversation. The tension in the air thickened as they stepped through the threshold. We heard about the meeting, said Mrs. Collins, a sweet old lady with a firm resolve. We want to know how we can help. John felt a surge of warmth. We can start with a plan, but before John could finish, a sharp voice cut through the enthusiasm. You think you can just come in here and change everything? What gives you the right? It was Mr. Davidson, the town's unofficial critic, known for his biting remarks and staunch opposition. The room fell silent. John felt Jake's grip tighten around his arm, his small fingers cold. John took a deep breath, grounding himself. We believe the workshop can be a place for everyone. A chance for the community to come together. But to do that, we need your support. And what's in it for us? Mr. Davidson shot back. The fire inside John ignited. We create opportunities for our children. We build a brighter future together. That's what's in it for you. As murmurs of disagreement and support began to fill the room, John realized this was only the beginning. He caught Lucy's eye and she nodded in understanding, fully aware that change was never free from conflict. He felt a mix of hope and fear swirling in his chest. They were standing on the brink of something big, but it could just as easily slip out of their grasp. What if they didn't come together? What if it all fell apart? Just as he formulated his next words, a voice shouted from the back, "We won't let you destroy this town." John's pulse quickened. Who was this person? And would there be more like him? He looked back at Jake, whose face mirrored his own uncertainty. This was a battle he hadn't expected to fight, not just for the grant, but for the soul of their community itself. Could they rally enough support, or would fear win out? As uncertainty loomed, John squared his shoulders. This was just the beginning, and he had no intention of stepping back now. The meeting unfolded like a living tapestry before John. Voices bounced around the room, some filled with excitement, while others dripped with skepticism. Each word from the townsfolk sparked a fire in him. He could see it, all the dreams he had for his community taking shape in real time. But right now it wasn't about him. It was about everyone else. It was about hope, healing, and redefining what it meant to be a part of this town. Listen. John raised his voice to cut through the clamor. I understand why some of you are hesitant. Change can be scary. But remember that my dad always said, we build not just for ourselves, but for those who come after us. This workshop isn't about taking. It's about giving. Opportunities for our children. Skills that could last a lifetime. A ripple of murmurs swept through the audience. Mrs. Collins leaned forward, a glint of admiration sparking in her eyes. John, I believe in what you're saying. We want to invest in our kids, we all do. Just like you. Exactly. We can pull together as a community, Jake interjected, his youthful voice cutting through the tension. Imagine the kids learning how to tool, learning real skills. They'll have a safe place to grow, and we can guide them. Don't you want that for your children? As Jake spoke, the crowd began to nod. Even some of the skeptics shifted in their seats. John felt a flicker of relief. Maybe they were getting through after all. But then Mr. Davidson pushed forward again, arms crossed defiantly. You think a few good speeches will convince us? We need more than just good intentions. We need more than dreams. You're right, John declared, feeling buoyed by his son's bravery. But it starts somewhere. How many of you feel tired of waiting for opportunities? How many of us have struggled to feel heard or recognized in this community? Let us change that. Yeah, came a voice from the back, followed by a smattering of applause. Our community deserves more than sitting by and watching others prosper, John said, locking eyes with Jake. We deserve a space built on creativity, collaboration, and mentorship. It's not just about the money, it's about what we will create together. Then let us talk plans, Lucy interjected, moving forward, her energy coursing through the room. How can we come together to support this vision? The shift was palpable. New determination hung in the air like the scent of popcorn at a movie theater, ever so familiar and comforting. They dove into details, brainstorming ideas, gathering names of potential volunteers, tools needed, and ways to fundraise. It felt electric. John could practically see the workshop construction coming into existence, like an artist revealing their masterpiece. Hope reshaped their fears into a sturdy foundation. As the meeting wound down, John caught Mr. Davidson's gaze. He saw something softer in the man's eyes, a flicker of understanding mixed with a hint of acceptance. Perhaps even he had realized that the community wanted transformation. "Let us do this together, folks," John declared as the meeting neared its conclusion. "Our unity is our strength, and our collective dreams can propel us forward." People were standing, shaking hands, and exchanging numbers as the room buzzed with newfound energy. John felt a warmth swell in his chest. The sky outside had transfixed into a warm golden hue. It was as if the universe itself was celebrating this moment of togetherness. With Jake's hand slipped snugly into his, the father-son duo nodded to each other, a grateful space of understanding enveloping them. They had unlatched the door to possibility, but more importantly, they had ignited a spark of hope in a community that desperately needed it. And as they stepped outside, breathing in the crisp, fresh air, John recognized that they were no longer just dreaming. They were weaving a reality that would cultivate not just change but an entire legacy built on connection. This was just the beginning. He turned to Jake, the outline of their path still stretched before them. "Are you ready for this, Dad?" Jake's smile was radiant, filled with unshakable enthusiasm. "I was born ready." And with that, they faced the dawn of a new chapter together, knowing their family, their community, and their future would thrive. Now more than ever, let's remember the importance of connection. If you felt inspired by this journey, you need to subscribe now to the channel. Don't miss the next exclusive stories that will elevate your spirit. Leave a like now to feed that algorithm and keep the good vibes flowing. Comment below with your thoughts about this transformation and how it speaks to you. And please share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this inspiring journey unfold. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans know the power of community.